Okay, and I will share my screen also. Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Okay, let me admit. Okay, so we will start with SAP BTP overview, what is at least BTP and little bit, the background also. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, it all started actually with, I like when the HANA was released, right? Initially, it was called as HANA Cloud Platform. Okay, and then, because the idea was to make use of HANA, which was an in-memory database, right? So there were a lot of capabilities introduced by HANA, like you can process things within the database itself rather than doing everything in your application layer. Okay, so SAP, basically offered this, I mean, HANA Cloud Platform, HCP, and then it became SCP, SAP Cloud Platform, because they started introducing not just HANA level, application creation, but also, Java came into picture. Okay. And then, UFI also came into picture. So that's how they started introducing more into cloud world. And then initially, after HCP and SCP, they started introducing new environment called Neo, okay, which is still there today. So there is an environment called BTP Neo. Okay. So that supports HANA level development, which we call it as HANA Access. If you have heard the term Access Classic or Access GS applications, Access Advanced applications, which are built within the database. Okay, that is supported there in the Neo environment. And basically, eventually SAP was also renamed to BTP, right? So now BTP has rather three runtimes. So when I say runtimes, three, think like three environments, okay, where you can have your applications deployed. One of them is Neo environment, NEO, which supports native HANA level development, and then Java and UFI Fury is also supported. If you have ever worked upon, UI5 or Neo, that you would know that is still there. And many customers are still on BTP Neo, okay? And then, slowly and gradually, like from the past 5, 6 years, everything is on Cloud Foundry or on Kima. Okay. So in this course, we will be using the environment called Cloud Foundry. Okay. Then there is another environment called Kima. So Kima is little advanced in the way it works upon, Dockers and, Kubernetes. So that is little bit more, but not many customers, frankly speaking, are on, Kima because that is for advanced level things, where it is you want to manage those Dockers and containers by yourself. Okay. So I mean, not many customers would like to do that, so they rely upon, SAP's containerization concept. So it is a container which basically hosts your application, and then that is the container which is actually run by your Cloud Foundry environment. So most of the customers they rely on this, Cloud Foundry concept. Actually, Cloud Foundry was, another, I think, VMware. Yes, if I'm not wrong, so VMware was the company who had originally designed the Cloud Foundry, and then SAP took over it. So that's a very brief about BTP. But yeah, in this course, you will be seeing BTP Cloud Foundry environment only. Yeah. But if you want to, see other things, I think they are not really needed as of now, until unless your customer is like that. So the CAP applications are supported only on Cloud Foundry and only on Cloud Foundry and Kima. They are not supported on Neo. Okay, if this makes sense. So let's go ahead. So yeah, we'll see the BTP overview. And yeah, so what exactly is a BTP? So SAP BTP is SAP's integrated offering that combines database, data management, analytics, application development, integration into single platform. It is actually a platform. When I say platform, we also call it as PaaS, platform as a service. Okay, so I mean there are terms like infrastructure as a service, okay, platform as a service, and then software as a service. Okay, so for example, your S/4HANA Cloud, if you have worked upon, cloud or your, cloud solution, or let's say, SuccessFactor, Concur, right? All of these are software as a service, SaaS. Okay, so which is basically nothing but your application. Okay, but BTP actually is a platform. Platform is basically a tool by which you can develop your applications, by which development can be done. Whereas SaaS is a delivered product, right? So BTP helps you in creating, multiple things. For example, you can work with application development, you can develop integrations, for example, CPI, right? Cloud Platform Integration, if you have seen in your projects. So it supports integration, application development, you can do analytics. There are things like SSC, right? Analytics Cloud, you have HANA coming into cloud. Yeah, so database actually is HANA, right? I mean, it supports so many, but I'm talking about SAP's pre-delivery. So you have HANA Cloud, which is there as an offering in BTP. So all of these combinations are available onto this BTP platform. And then if you have a platform, right, you need the hardware also, correct? On which, for example, you need some RAM, you need some CPUs, right? Your data centers, right? So those data centers are actually also needed. Okay, data centers are basically you can think like an IaaS, infrastructure as a service. So these data centers are behind the scenes there. Okay, so you have to choose which data center you want. It can be, by Google, by uh, Amazon, Microsoft Azure is also there. So it's basically depending upon the scenario. Okay, what is the scenario? So let's say some customers would like to use US region, okay, for the data center, so that the data is stored in US, right? So accordingly, you have to choose the data centers provider, and the region basically. Yeah. But once you've chosen that, and then basically you can start developing your applications on BTP. Okay. So it helps business turn their data into business value, provides flexibility to build, integrate, and extend applications in the cloud. So what do you mean by extend applications? For example, if you are on SuccessFactor and you would like to enhance some functionality, you have to go for BTP. If you're on Ariba, you want to enhance a functionality, you will have to go for BTP. If you're on S/4HANA Cloud, okay, there is also a thing called embedded steampunk, but it's up to the customer. So you have both the options, cap and wrap. But if you want to be really advanced, you want to integrate AI tomorrow, you want to integrate process automation, you want to integrate many systems, you want to have such sort of applications, then you would develop on BTP, okay, on cloud. So that's where it helps you in doing extensions, yeah, building your custom applications on the cloud. Okay. So what are the key pillars? When I say key pillars, I mean this is like what all are the main things which supports which you can develop. So you can do database handling, data management, you can do analytics, you can do application development, which is what is the focus of this training, application development. Then you have another pillar called integration, mainly the CPI, right? Cloud platform integration, which is for integrating multiple systems. For example, you used to have PI, right? XIPI, that way, correct? So you have now CPI, yeah, which is again a cloud-based integration product, yeah, on residing on your BTP only. Then you have intelligent technologies, for example, AI, you know, RPA, SBPA, right? Process automation stuff, building chatbots, all those things are possible in, they all come under in intelligent technologies. Yeah. So what is exactly because comes under database and data management. So you have HANA Cloud as a central database. It is not that other databases are not there, but SAP's recommendation is to go for HANA Cloud. You have databases like Postgre, Redis, I think three more are there, but I remember these three now. So, and those only I have used. So yeah. So, but SAP HANA Cloud is the most, thing because you can also do AI on top of it. Okay. Not many databases support, if you want to go for generative AI, but HANA Cloud actually supports, building your generative AI application. So that's what customers go for using this HANA Cloud as a central database. You can have one central database onto which you can build applications, you can do analytics, yeah. So, you can move your data, let's say, from your on-premise system to HANA Cloud, and then you start working on your applications. So, there are a lot of things, there are things like smart data integration, by which you create virtual tables in HANA Cloud and you move everything there directly. I mean, it's a basis thing, but just to give you more context, what are all the possibilities. One thing is that you create everything scratch in HANA Cloud, or other thing is you kind of move your data from your, ECC or S4 to your HANA Cloud via virtual tables. Okay, so you don't know, basically that is also a thing which you can do. Yeah. So why do we need HANA? Because we know it has real-time processing and storage capabilities. So basically every processing is done within the database itself. So basically your database resides in the RAM, yeah, and not really on your hard disk. It's all in within the RAM. So all the database calculations, you can do it right within your database rather than doing it in your application layer, right? So all those things I think you must have heard about HANA, but yeah. The next part is analytics cloud. Yeah. So this is the next pillar, right? So where you do, you start visualizing your data. You can build some nice dashboards. You can do predictive analysis. If this is my situation today, what will be the forecast going forward, right? So all those things you can do predictive analysis. Yeah, you can do some planning, and mainly it's, many customers are using it a lot of time for reporting, right? You can have some nice dashboards. For example, one of the customers where I worked, so they were having some dashboards, for example, for the supplier performance, right? So how good is the supplier? So that sort of dashboard they had. So I mean, you can have dashboards built on this SSC product. So there will be, this is a separate profile. So when it comes to BTP, it has a lot of, job profiles. So there will be one, let's say, profile called, SSC developer, yeah, who work upon this analytics tool. Please feel free to stop me if you have heard anything in BTP which you want to ask right now. That's fine because it's a little theoretical, but yeah, you have to understand this also. Then when it comes to application development and integration, like I said, you have these two, Cloud Foundry and Kima, right, for app development. Then you have SAP Integration Suite for your basically integration scenario, right, for XIPI scenario. What we are focusing on Cloud Foundry app development in this course, okay, and the last is your low code, no code tools, which are getting very popular. So there is a thing called SAP Build, okay, which is, behind the scene. Let's say when it comes to creating an app, it will still use CAP behind the scenes. It is just that it is low code, no code, it will be more UI friendly thing. So that is also possible with SAP Build, low code, no code, and then under SAP Build, there is also this process automation. Okay, SPA or SBPA, whatever you want to call, business process automation, SAP business process automation, right? So all these things are now coming under this build, which is nothing but low code, no code, way of doing development. Under SBPA, you can design some workflows, you can create some, chatbots, and then now with AI coming into picture for generative AI scenarios, you also have under SBPA something called as agentic AI, right? So agentic AI is also possible in SAP Build now. Okay, so it has some additional capabilities now. Agentic AI scenario is also possible. Okay, I mean, I just making it sure that you understand what all profiles are there, right? So those who are working on AI, they would use this SAP Build heavily. Those who just work on workflows and they are very pro in it, they would go for, process automation. Yeah, these are different geo profiles you have. So, but our is BTP cap, which falls under the app development. Right? So, like I said, intelligent technologies, generative AI, machine learning, IoT, right? You can have some boards for automation, intelligent RPA, right? So, these things are also possible. Now, what exactly, are the benefit of going for SAP BTP? So, you have, you do something called as cloud native development. So, this is very popular, when you might ask, what is at least cloud native development? So it is basically, you can deploy your applications. Okay, you build your application in the same way. You can deploy your applications, you know, on any cloud. Okay, it can be, like I said, right, it can be deployed on Microsoft Azure as an IaaS. It can be deployed on Google GCP, depending on where your sub account is. I'll show you what is a global accountant sub account, but basically you can build your developments in a cloud native way, leveraging various services. Okay, so actually BTP provides a lot of services. Okay, so for example, if you want to have an application, let's say simple Fiori application, in by which you want to upload the documents also. So you can leverage SBTP service. Okay, there are a lot of BTP services. Example, I'm just saying, for example, DMS, document management service. Okay, you have for authentication, you have access UA service. Okay, so you can leverage all of these services. Uh, essentially think like that in BTP, everything is a reusable service which you will integrate in your CAP application so that you can do a lot of stuff. Okay, so this is important to understand what exactly is a BTP service. Is it clear? There are a lot of BTP services. Maybe once we start developing applications, you will see. Yeah, so for example, work zone is also there, right? There are some applications and services combined which you can use. Okay.
Okay. Vipin, like, yeah, they will be telling HANA native, cloud native. So, like, you just told, I mean, cloud native in a sense, like, we'll just build and deploy applications in the cloud.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's it. I mean, and HANA,
HANA native is basically doing development, your application development, you're doing it at HANA level. You're not leveraging CAP, let's say. I mean, which is very difficult in my personal opinion. I have worked with HANA and, XSJS applications in BTP Neo environment. It's little hard. Okay, you have to learn, learn to do simple loops, right? You need to understand stored procedure, right? Procedural languages when it comes to HANA. It's little difficult and different. But what I'm talking about is actually developing on Cloud Foundry and doing cloud native development, not
mhm,
HANA native
okay.
as such. So
Okay,
that,
so HANA native in a sense, only application will be over HANA. They will be doing only SQL queries and procedures, all these
yeah,
things.
yeah, you can write a lot. You can write, and your HANA database
Mhm,
supports, it's a procedural language. Okay, so you can write functions, logics you can have. It's possible, but it's difficult. And then, it is not the way, if you've heard about microservices concept. So,
mhm.
like for
Yes, yes.
example, if you go to Amazon.com, right? So most of the times you search a lot, right? Rather than you don't always buy, right? But you might search often, right? So,
Mhm,
so let's say there is a separate microservice for search. There is a separate microservice for, for let's say, for creating an order. Okay. So that way you would can have multiple microservices. It depends on the architecture because you have so many searches going on. So you will have your microservice, which is responsible for search. You will allocate more memory to it, more CPUs to it, right? Than compared to your order. Okay. You will scale it
mhm,
more, right? So, but all those things are not really possible at HANA level.
mhm. Okay.
So, for example, you have your CAP application, and I want to have, let's say, 10 instances running parallelly. Okay, there is a service called Autoscaler, like
Yes, yes.
DMS and Excel, right? So, using Autoscaler, you can scale your BTP service, BTP CAP application to, when let's say moment there are the CPU usages increases to let's say more than 85%. Okay, that time you can create one more instance. autoscaler service supports that. So all such things, dynamically scaling up, scaling down, really leveraging various services that is possible with, cloud native development and not at HANA level. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And like one more question.
Let me give you
Um,
one more service example, job scheduling service. Yeah. That is also the job
yeah, yeah,
scheduling service. Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. So, we I mean we'll be using a Cloud Foundry, right? I mean, as a runtime.
Yes.
So I imagine like Cloud Foundry as like some environment where our application runs. So
Correct.
does we need to know anything else beyond this, or like?
As and when we go into development, whatever is needed, I will cover. See, I
Mhm.
don't want to, overcomplicate things because there are things, concepts like, Diago cells, okay, that destroying of those cells, what happens once you do autoscaler, right? So does it create one more Diago cell or does it not do, right? So, but that is, you don't have to understand that, right? So
Okay,
no,
okay,
no interviewer should ideally ask that. And because your job is to do application development. If you were on Kima, right, the other environment, yes, they would ask you, okay, how do you containerize your application? Then you go into other concepts like Dockers and containers, which itself is a big thing. Okay. If you are
hmm,
developing on Kima, yes, you are supposed to know this. But in Cloud Foundry, your idea is to develop applications the way you have been doing so far, right? So you don't have to worry a lot about how internally Cloud Foundry is handling. But if you want, yes, you can do that. Okay, so maybe there is also, I'll show you. There's a link, for Cloud Foundry documentation. Like I said, so Cloud Foundry was taken over by SAP, right? So
hmm,
you have some nice open source documentation if you want to really understand, but I won't recommend going into that level at this stage. Maybe after you have 2, 3 years of experience, then if you really want to understand, okay. But no, you're doing application development, right? You're not trying to design and understand the underlying things, right?
okay, okay, got it.
I would recommend, but yeah, if you still want, I can give you the documentation. You can go through. Okay, then you can integrate SAP and non-SAP systems via integration suite, right? CPI. That's where the power is. You can integrate Salesforce, success sectors, Workday, any other third-party systems also with SAP. Okay, so all such things are possible. Yeah, it is scalable. Like I said, you can scale. It's secure. You have this authentication and authorization concepts, and it's very flexible. So, yeah, I think this is fine. So I mean, I think you have understood at least these pillars, right? What all it supports, and what we are trying to learn is this application development. You have to remember this, okay? Tomorrow, if you after this course, if you want to learn also, let's say, AI, SBPA, you can do that. That will fall under intelligent technologies. You want to learn integration suite, CPA is another job profile. You want to be an analytics developer, you know, where you start leveraging HANA as such, then you can learn SSE, right? But all these are different job profiles which you have on BTP. Okay, so sometimes I get calls, even today, those recruiters, they don't understand these pillars. They will simply say, we are looking for BTP development. They will not tell what. Okay. So you have to really ask, okay, what profile are you looking for? Okay. They might
Okay.
confuse all of these, job profiles. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Let me now show you. Okay. Let me just drag it here. Yeah. Okay. And let me reshare. My bad. I will stop sharing. So I want to show you, BTP global account, and then we'll talk from there. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, we can see BTP copy.
Yeah. So I just created a trial account. If you go here, okay, so this is the link account dot, okay, I signed out. This is the link account dot hana trial dot ondemand.com. You can create a trial account. Okay. So maybe I will put it in the PPT. I'll share you the PPT, but yeah, trial account and all those things you can check. So once I share your PPT, you can go to this account.hanatrial.ondemand.com and just register yourself. Okay, right? So now you just need to give your email ID and phone number, things like that. Give your organization name. Okay, all those things you have to do. Okay, so I've done it already so that you don't waste time in that. But yeah, that's you have to register yourself onto that trial account. So now if I'll go to, you know, trial account. So there are a lot of tutorials also. Yeah, RAP is there, extension scenario, which is, let's say this one, right? SAP build, low code, no code, right? You can follow some tutorials also. There's a lot of information, but yeah, maybe once you get used to this, you'll understand. So main thing, where you can see all of the services which SAP has is this Discovery Center. Okay. This Discovery Center has all the BTP services. When I'm talking about DMS, Job Scheduler, XSUA, right? If you want to understand more about BTP services, you can go to this link, Discovery Center. Okay. Now they've also introduced this guidance framework by which you can, for developers, you can see how should you develop your application, what are the best practices. Here you can see the BTP services. Okay. And here, if you want to just work upon AI, business AI, SAP business AI, you can see the AI catalog. Okay. So basically, whatever services you use, there is a cost to it, right? So it all works upon pricing. So you can have this service estimator also. Okay. So, you can estimate, for example, let's say your customer is saying, okay, how much will this application cost me, right? You can keep on adding all of the services and then at the bottom it will show you, you know, the pricing, right? So, so for example, I clicked on this add service button and then you have to add, let's say I want to have, definitely I would need Cloud Foundry runtime. I need Cloud Identity service. I need cloud logging. I'm just adding random service. Okay. This thing I need audit log also, whatever. Okay, so you add whatever you need. I want to also have job scheduling services. Okay, I want to have HANA Cloud. Okay, and then you say okay. So that way, it will just try to estimate the overall cost. See, it is coming at 148 euro per month. Okay, so you can choose a region depending upon the region for your, like I said, I like infrastructure as service, right? So that way you have to decide which region you want to have, right? So that will tell you it is costing 148, right? So it has added everything. Just play it around, okay? Nothing. This is mainly for commercial, and licensing perspective, but it's good to know how where you can check. On Discovery Center is a central place where you can, really see everything, and they have also designed some missions if you want to think about what are use cases you have, right? So clean core use cases there's, okay, Joule scenarios are there, integration suite is there, ABTP, UI5, yeah, process automation. So these are more like, what all they're given some random use cases which you can have. Yeah, for example, how do you build a success factor extension? If you open this, so this will tell you, okay, what all things are going to do and what all things are needed. Right. So you can start your mission. It's more of a guided journey, but definitely you need to know the basics. Okay. For example, some people are like, what all use cases are there. So Discovery Center really gives you a lot of things. You can see what all things they are going to do. You basically need a work zone, you see what all things you need, partner as success factor product you would need, right? Uh, I think they do something for CAP here because they're doing success factor extension. So basically, they also have some missions which you can follow. For example, if you want to do S4 HANA cloud extension, okay, they have given this. And then there's also this BTP guidance framework. Okay, so where you can see BTP developers guide, for example. This is another cool link. Okay, so you can follow, how you can uh, deliver the applications, how you can develop basically, right? What all programming languages you have, right? So programming models, right? We have a BAP cloud as well as CAP, what is this main course, right? So so you can really search and understand if you're stuck anywhere. These are the things which you will be seeing. You see Node.js Express, this is what we have learned so far. You also have a parallel thing called Java, right? But we are not focusing upon Java in this case. Yeah, I think most of the customers they are going for Node.js. But yeah. Okay, enough about Discovery Center. Now, once you have created your account, basically it creates a global account. Okay, so let me go to my trial account. And if you see here, this is my global account name, 97, some numbers and then trial. Okay, and here, so global account concept is there. Under one global account, you can have n number of sub accounts because it is a trial which you will use. So you will have only one sub account named trial. Okay, but you can have n number of sub accounts. For example, like you have dev, quality, and production, right? Similarly, you can have one sub account for development, one sub account for your quality scenario, then one sub account for your production scenario, right? For your productive system. Okay, I hope it making sense when I'm trying to relate sub accounts to development, quality, and production, like real time thing, right? Why do you need multiple sub accounts? Okay. So what will happen is that you need a global account for billing purpose. Okay, so let's say you have three sub accounts and you are leveraging in total 10, 15 services, right? And then we also saw that price estimator, right? So whatever is the total cost, that billing will be done at your global account level. Basically, your customer will get the billed amount at this global account level. Okay, so you have this concept of global account and sub account. And then over here, you can also see the usage, just to see what all services you're using in what, units, right? So currently don't have anything. So it's nothing basically, but maybe let's say you have some application cap application, so you will see what all services and how much is the usage, all such information over here. Okay. Under security, you can define your users. Okay. What all users you have, right? So currently only mine is there. So that comes under security. You can define some roles. You have a lot of role collections out of the box. One of them is global account administrator. Okay. Most of the times you will not have global account administrator because it's very risky to give admin rights, right? So because you can delete the sub account, you know. So you will be mostly given access to the sub accounts and not really an access to your global account. Okay, so left hand side options you might not see in your real scenario. Okay, if you are seeing all of these options, then there is something wrong with the global account setup. So you are having more authorizations, but you are supposed to work as a developer. You will have access mainly to your sub account, and you will have all of these services. For example, access UA, job scheduling, right? All of these services will be there for you. You just have to work with those services. Okay. Now, how do you assign those services? So you have something called as entitlements. Again, this will be done only one time. So I can go into my entity, okay, and in entity, I need to choose my sub account. So this, and then I say select. So you see, because it's a it's a trial account, so they've already added a lot of services, to this sub account, right? But in your real-time use case, your BTP administrator, there is another job profile called as BTP administrator. He would assign these services to you, I mean to your sub account. Okay. So he will come on edit and click on add service plans, and then he can choose whatever he wants to add. For example, authorization and trust management, right? So currently all of these things are already there, so they're already checked, but yeah, maybe it's trial, so they're not allowing, you see, but in real time you can come here and then select this and then add that service plan so that that service is available within your sub account. Okay, please feel free to ask anything if you are not able to correlate how things will happen in real time. But essentially, you need to have entitlements for the services to your sub account, and that's what because it's a trial account, everything is already done. Okay, so it's fine basically, right? So now if I go to my sub account, okay, before going to sub account, let's check system landscape. You don't really need. I mean, this is needed if you are trying to, you know, I mean, there are new things coming up in BTP also, but you really don't need if you want to integrate external systems or this formations concepts coming in. But it's a little advanced, you want to talk to any third-party system, let's say S4, even SAP system, right? So you can create those systems over here. But that is usually one-time job. You will not do that. And then you have something called as, okay, currently, if you see in system landscape, you have only, two systems, right? One for build and one for business application studio where you do the development, right? But usually you will have your real system. Success factor can be there, Ariba can be there. All of those things will be there for you. Okay. Now you have something called as booster. Okay. So this booster is very useful. Again, you will not really do it by yourself, but your global account administrator will do. So for example, I want to, set up the build app. I can simply run this booster. It will check if you have the entitlement in your sub account and it will start configuring that, you know, for example, this build app needs, let's say, 5 BTP services. It will automatically configure all of those services. Yeah. So, you have data analytics boosters, integration booster if you want to work on CPI, you want to set up your HANA cloud, right? So I will show you, but first let's go to my sub account trial. This is my sub account. And over here, so again, if you see, you have service marketplace. So either you run the booster or you go to service marketplace and create this instances. So you have services, BTP services, right? For example, document management service, job scheduler, authentication, all these services, like I was telling, all of these are services, and you simply create an instance. Very simple. Just create an instance, whatever you need. Okay, for example, you need bash, you can create an instance. I mean, you can create, basically it's already there, but yeah, you can create an instance of this. Okay, you want to create HANA, you want to work with HANA Cloud, you can create HANA Cloud database instance. Okay, we have services and their corresponding instances. Okay, autoscaler, you see, I can simply create application login, right? Authorization and trust management, access UA, right? You can create instance. Cloud entity, right? For login. Okay, for CI/CD, if I have to move my application from one sub account to that, like from development to quality, you can create instance of this. So, I mean, these things will take time, right? It's a journey, right? That I mean, it's impossible to cover all of these services, right? I hope you understand that. Because then we are going to different direction, right? But maybe after this course, you will start seeing what all services we have used, what all more are there. You can start experimenting by your own, right? So currently, if I go to instances and subscription, currently only Bash is there, right? And Cloud Foundry runtime environment is already enabled, right? So if you go to environments, you have Cloud Foundry runtime already there, okay? And because it's a trial account, so they have given 4 GB of memory to me, right? So 4 GB memory is allocated, 4 GB RAM is there to so that our applications can use this RAM. So you can't have, let's say, 12 cap applications, in the trial, right? But I think it's enough. You can delete and you can then deploy a new. Yeah. So this runtime is available. Uh, okay, this is so there are two things. One is instance, which is over here under instances, and then one is subscription. Actually, your business application studio is an application, okay, and not an instance. So either this service marketplace will have services which we can use instances. You can create service instances. This is more like technical in nature. Service instances are more like technical in nature, which you will leverage in your CAP application. But this application is more of a tool, okay, which you can directly open. For example, if I open now, let's see this business application studio. I will open this. Okay, so it is opening that BAS. This is as good as VS Code, right? This is a development tool. Yeah. So we will try to use this BAS, and let me just hit OK. The first thing you need to do is create a dev space. Okay. So basically a space where your application source code, application code will be there, right? So you have to create a dev space. Let me create a dev space. And then over here, I will say full stack cloud application. If you just want to have a space just for Fury, you can have a space for Fury, for ABAP first, but because you're learning BTP, so full stack cloud application is the way to go. And I will probably name it as full stack only, just give a name. Okay. And then if you want any other additional, so these extensions will automatically come in, which will help you in development. But if you want to add anything, new, for example, you want to do an adaptation, like you want to do an S4 HANA Fiori app extension, right? Those have worked on Fiori. You can enable this. Okay, so all those things, you can enable, but let me just see. You don't really need apart from HANA tools. Python, if you are interested in AI, right? Development tools, for work zone. I don't think we need a lot of things. Channel 5 app runner. Let's enable this and let's just create. Okay. So again, there will be some space allocated to your space. Okay, like to your this business application studio dev space. You cannot have, let's say, hundreds or of applications in your trial account, right? So accordingly, it will do. So it is starting this space. Okay, so you can stop your space, and then you can start from here. Yeah, you can delete also, but yeah, will not do that. So this is your space where where your application development will happen, where your source code will reside. Okay. It's they take some time. Meanwhile, let's come back and you see this is a trial. So 90 days will be there. So after 30 days, I need to extend it. Okay. So this is 90 days, which which is enough for our course. Okay. But yeah, you need to at least visit your BTP sub account after 30 days, right? Try to, I mean, as you are learning, so you will anyways log in, right? So, and now if I go to overview, it has a lot of information. So one of them is the sub account ID. So let's say every sub account will have a sub account ID. Okay. And when I was creating this, I was creating a global account. In trial, it will automatically set up the trial sub account. Yeah, I think once you do it, maybe today, you will understand. You have to choose a provider. Okay, like in which provider your sub account will reside. Okay, so I chose, it showed me only two options. I chose US East, so you choose only the same thing, US East and AWS. When you'll understand. So once you're creating a global account, right, once you're registering yourself, you just have to choose the option and then it will automatically provision that. Okay, but remember that you have to use US East. Okay, and trial they are only giving two regions. I chose US East. There was another, I think Singapore. But Singapore, why I use US East? Because US East has lot of services. Okay, so this Discovery Center, right? All of these services, this right BTP services in Access UA. So not all services are available in, for example, this audit log service, right? This might be available in US East region, but not in Singapore. Okay, so going by my own experience, you can either go for Frankfurt, which is not available in trial, I guess. Uh, you can go for US East, which is also fine. yeah, for our training. Okay. So this is the sub account, and then you have this Cloud Foundry environment because it will automatically enable that, right? So we are working with Cloud Foundry, but we have also the schema, which we have not enabled, and this is not the intention of this course. We are focusing upon Cloud Foundry. Okay. Now, if you want to work with Cloud Foundry environment as such, there is something called as API endpoint. Okay, we will see how exactly is used. But this is to interact with Cloud Foundry environment, you can use this API endpoint. Okay, so you will use this endpoint and then you there's also this concept of space. Okay, you can have n number of spaces. Okay, depending upon, let's say you have one space for finance applications, one space for HR applications, you can have that way set up. So currently you have under this environment only dev space. The name is dev space. If I go to the space now, so this is the place where applications will reside, where your CAP applications will reside going forward. It can be CAP, it can be Node.js, the application which you developed right yesterday, right? That also is possible. You can deploy, you just need to add one or two files and then you can deploy that in Cloud Foundry. Yeah. So currently we have 4 GB for our applications, and then there's no application, so you will not find anything. And then you have HANA Cloud. We will create this HANA Cloud instance also. And then you can add people to this space. Okay, currently only I am the one. Okay, but basically you can add your team members who will work upon applications, on cloud applications, your team members email ID via this add members option. So when you are adding, you just give their email ID, and most of the time they will be space developer and not really space manager. Yeah, because you are working as a developer, let's say in your team. So you have to add your team members here. I think that's it. Which are like bare minimum needed. So let's stop here. I think meanwhile this okay. It has started. Let's at least see. It is in running stage now. I'll open this. So it will load your business application studio where you can start developing your applications. Okay. So try to set these things up today. Create your global account, sub account, start your business application studio. Okay. Fine. By the way, are you on GitHub also? So I will ignore this for the time being. You have all of you. Do you have your GitHub accounts? Yes, no.
Yes, but not using
Okay.
anymore now.
So maybe, from, I mean, yesterday source code you might have got it. I directly shared. But I will see. Maybe it's better to use GitHub, right, and share the source code there, correct? Hmm?
Okay.
Rather than uploading source code. Yeah. So you can give me your GitHub IDs, okay, and maybe whenever whatever project I create, right, I'll add you as collaborators so that you can at least see the code, okay, see the code, work with code if you want to do anything, right? So you can all give me your you know, GitHub account IDs, okay, yeah, so that it's easier for us to work. Okay, anything you would like to ask? So I know it was a little bit theoretical, but it was important to cover this global account, sub account, services concept. Okay, we'll run some boosters tomorrow. Let's see what all boosters we need. I need to plan. This is a complete empty sub account, right? There's nothing. I mean, if I go to my sub account, it hardly has anything enabled. We just enabled BAS, for example, right? So you need to add HANA and a couple of more things, correct? So currently under instance subscription, there's nothing, right? But let's see. I'll see what all things we need. I'll switch maybe to VS Code and to BAS in between, right? Uh, but yeah, I mean, you can use whatever tool you like. BAS needs internet access, right? Because you're working over internet with this tool. But if you want to work locally, you can go for VS Code also. Okay, we'll see. Okay, fine then. That was it. Any questions?
No from mind.
Okay, Sunil, Rohan, fine. ठीक है, I'll stop recording then. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.